Hey guys, welcome to the next Blender tutorial. We've got a very exciting tutorial waiting for you ahead. The next 10-20 minutes, you are about to be educated and enabled to do animation. And I prepared you for this moment in the last 2 or 3 tutorials. This is the moment. This is the moment you've all been waiting for. Alright, so this is the end result that we've gotten to. I promised you last week that we would do face rigging. Let me show you what we have. Wait, let me include some audio. You'll probably hear it in the background, but here we go.
Hey, my name is Judy, and I'm about to do a jump. Are you ready? All thumbs for me. Here I go.
And then in a separate animation file, in a Blender file, I actually did the actual jump. And I'll tell you why they're separate. You don't have to do them separate. You can learn from my lesson. Alright, and not do what I did. Alright, so that is the finished product right there. Let me take you through the steps on what I did to get there. So this is where we left off previously before. We had our rig set up, but we did not have the face rig. And I told you last week that we would do the face rigging, and I think specifically to get the eyes moving, get the ears moving, just to get some expressions in the face. That definitely adds towards your character. But I made a mistake by deleting that face rig because it meant that I would have had to start right from the beginning. There are ways of joining the face rig to the rig without when we deleted the face bones. But I just thought to myself, you know what, it's probably better just to start all over again, and so that's what I did. And you can see from the original, even though our character is a animal, yes, it's an animal. Sorry guys, no hurt feelings, it's an animal, alright, it's a rabbit. You can take the original face rig and you can turn it into, by lining it up, you'll eventually get your character's face lined up. And what you've got to do is note I did this twice. I did it the first time. I can't remember what problem I came across, but I did it again and I did it better the second time that I did it because I learned how to move the bones a lot quicker. So what I'll do is I'll just get started a little bit for you. So the first thing, we've done this before, you got to go to armature, select the human rig, you got to scale it down, and I like getting as many views as I can, so maybe like a front view. Let's put that into mesh mode. And I've showed you this before. If you hold in Z, you can go between your different modes. I love using the pie menus because it's a lot quicker. If you hit your tilde key on your keyboard, your tilde key is in different places. I've got the iMac, so I've got the whole wireless keyboard. So mine's next to the Z key. Yours might be next to number 1 in the top left hand corner. You get all the different views here. So let's put this one in the front. It's just going to help me not to move around too much. Maybe this guy over here I'm going to maybe put to the side because that's going to help me with that. And then I think what I'm going to do is in this view over here, I'm going to juggle around and basically operate with my mouse in this side using these 2 views as my view key. So the first thing I'm going to do is I will be scaling this up like this. Now the first time that I put my face rig in, I moved it from this position over here. Don't do that. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to change your pivot point. I'm going to select this. Alright, let's do that. Head bone, alright, in its position at the moment. And I'm going to press Shift S and I'm going to say cursor to selected. That's going to put the cursor right in the center there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all my bones, and holding down Shift I'm going to unselect all the other bones that I don't need. Then what that allows me to do is using this view over here, when I press scale now, and if it does, oh yes, by the way, here we go, change your pivot point to 3D cursor. When I press scale now, I'm going to try and get it as close to the face as in line with the face as possible. And I think specifically like the nose and the eyes area, because the rest we can just move in easily. So I'm going to press S and I'm going to get it roughly round about over there. Alright, that sets us up already in a good position. Now you can see with the face rig, alright, every bone has its purpose. And literally what I did is I started from the top and I moved down. Something else that I saw is that if you change your pivot point to, I believe, median point, which we know from the bones already helped a lot. Alright, so let's start off with the ears here. Oh yes, and before you even move your first bone, as you already know, put it in the mirror X axis. mode, so that whatever I do on this side, it's going to happen on the opposite end as well. That way, you sort of only need to do one side. Alright, so here we go. So we'll start off with our ears. Now obviously the ears is a lot different, but it will still work. I do believe that, well, in my view, I can probably rig up the ears a lot better to bend and stuff like that. My ears didn't originally bend, using only basically, depending on which view you're in, if I press grab, it's gonna keep it, it's not gonna move the bone back and forth. So when I need to move it within the Z axis, well, the Z and X, I can use this view, and in this view over here, if I want to move it in the, I believe, the Z and Y axis, I can use this view over here. I'm probably looking at something like that. Like I said, I think this can be rigged up better. It's actually a bad ear rig because I mean, for example, you want the bunny's ears to like bend and stuff like that. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to line up the forehead. So these bones over here are for the forehead, so they actually belong, let me show you, all the way up over here. So I'm watching over here. The next thing I need to do is I'm going to line up these bones over here. Are basically like, not, it's so, yeah, in fact it's the eyebrows, but the way that you'll see with our character over here, the eyebrows are quite close to the eyelashes, and there are bones for the eyelids as well. Alright, so I need to move them about over here. For the joints, watch, they're not joint, there's actually double bones, like the tails. Alright, there's the eye rig over here, and this is still part of the actual eye. Something that can help you as well there while you're working, just realign. So again, if I hold down my tilde key and I say if you've selected, it's going to pivot around whatever you have selected. That's one of my awesome shortcut keys that I love using. Alright. See, in the way that I'm working between the two views, I'm basically, now there are shortcuts for this. If I don't want to work in two views, I can say GX, and I know that that's going to move it side to side, and I can go GY, and I know that that's going to move it, so I can work in this over here. GY is going to move it forward and backwards, and I found myself working between the two, so e.g. that over there. So in other words, I'm able to just work with my mouse just in this area and using the views. And of course there's the mouth, which is going to help with the lips. It's important to get them in the right place and to also distribute them evenly. So I can see already that the head, yes, needs to definitely come out a bit more. And I can move it to the side. I'm going to put it to the corners of the mouth. I think that's where those guys belong. There you go. And what's nice is that even if I got in solid mode here, I can see where they're popping out. So I know exactly literally where they sort of belong. There you go. Okay, awesome. Now I am doing this very quickly, but I definitely recommend that you need to do this a lot more carefully. I mean, there you can see I've actually pulled that guy and this out of place. They need to be together. If that ever happens, select it, Shift S, cursor to select it, then select the tail, Shift S again and say selection to cursor. That'll put that back where it belongs. And cool, check that, both sides are done. How awesome. Alright, cool, here we go. Let's do bottom lips here. And so I can go on. Now that over there, inside there, is supposed to be the top sort of jaw. So let's just grab him like that. Make sure that he's not on the tongue. because otherwise it's going to parent the tongue to there, and then when you generate your rig, it's going to look really, really whack. Okay, I believe that this guy, oh yes, it's for the teeth. Alright, I found I needed to fix the teeth afterwards. Now also with this, you see with this bone over here, I need to make space for the jawbone as well. And then you want to do the eye as well. The eyes are basically exactly the same sort of thing. I think you know what to do. Just make sure, so I think what you want to do firstly is that bone right over there, if you can see it there, is the bone for the eyeball, which means that you want to make sure that that is in the center of the center of the eyeball, like that. And then I guess now, oh yes, there you go. So now you can see here, this is actually for the eyelid, which means that this guy technically is actually for the eyebrow. So no problem, let's just grab this guy. But I think he's, yeah, there you go. There. Roughly the place. Okay, and then I'll tell you what, I'll leave the eyes up to you. Alright, get it. It's important to make sure, because these are for your eyelids, it's important to get, so that bone you can leave where it is because it's the center of the eyeball, and you get this eye so that it sits nicely. Now if you look at my character, the corner of the eye, so that corner and that corner is on my character. If you look, it's there and it's there. Alright, so first of all you probably need to grab this guy, this bone over here, and make space for him, and then you need to get these bones nicely evenly distributed along the eyelid there and along the eyelid over there. That's basically what you are looking at. Hang on, let's do this. I'll show you how to do this. Okay, so you want to check, so with my rig selected, viewport display, and say in front, and there you can see how I have aligned mine up. Select this guy, just delete the bone. Don't you delete it, I'm just showing you an example how I got, you know, that forehead rig up nicely there, how I got those like eyebrow rig up there, got the eyes rigged up, the nose, you can see how I did the mouth, the chin, the bottom teeth, the tongue. You can see I even came around how far around the face here. I got all of that done. And then of course what you're going to do, and you know how to do this, you would select your rig first, and we're going to use Rigify, and I would say generate rig. There you go. And then what's nice is you can hide your other rig, and then that's the rig that it's going to generate for you. Once you've got that, then you select your mesh, you select your rig, make sure you select your mesh and then your rig, and Command P, and you would say armature deform with automatic weights, and then you'll end up with something like this. I don't think I need to go through this. You want to go check out the previous tutorials on when we rigged up the body, but you can sit and fix up. But what you should be sitting with is this, see there? You can see how it will deform a lot of the other areas as well, but it also depends on how you rotate your rig. So there I've done rotate on X. Something you should have a look at, you can see there's yellow markers, and I believe that the red markers are your more see there's those eyebrows are more your main controls. If I grab this guy, I can start pulling closed the eyelids, see there, make him look a bit more angrier. It's not perfect, but like I said, yeah, you can fix that at some other point. See there, look how angry she looks. If I rotate the head, see how nicely she works. With mine, I had to fix the eyes. We've done that already. You can see how nicely they've rigged this up, the eyelids, and even if I do that or do that and I rotate the head, there it is. Alright, so now the next important thing that you're going to need to do, and this is where I had quite a nice challenge, but I overcame it, I conquered it. And the first thing that I thought we would need to do is something called shape keys. If you're not familiar with shape keys, you basically take the face and you edit the mesh in a way that it looks like the mouth is pronouncing a specific word, and then you would create a shape key from that. Alright, over here under object data properties, here we go, you create shape keys, and all that you'll basically do is, yes, you can go and look up your own how to do shape keys, but because we've rigged, it works a bit different, and what it works with is something called pose library. Alright, and what pose library does is I can pose my character and I can store it. It doesn't create keyframes for you. All you're doing is you're creating different poses for your character. So let's say you're animating a character and you can create general poses for them, maybe a look confused pose, maybe a standing and waiting for something pose, maybe a sitting pose, a waiting pose, maybe a different poses in that. And then what it helps you is that when you're animating is that you can just select the pose and then it moves your character into that position, and then you keyframe it from there. Alright, in fact, I'm going to show you now. So these were my different poses that I've got, that I created, and what I did with this is that I downloaded this thing over here, and it's called Phonetic, different mouth wording pronunciations, so to speak. And I literally sat like this with my chart on this side and with my blender open this side, and I created, so first I started off and I created a neutral look. Alright, that's the neutral look. Then I started from the top and I stored this. So I looked at the mouth position, and then using my different control points here, I got those different mouth movements. Alright, which at first it was, you sort of like trying, in fact I would actually recommend that you have a mirror in front while you're doing this, so that you can maybe help pronounce it, and then you can try and get your character looking the same. So out of this one, you can see that there's not all the words that are here, but there's generally enough to make your character talk. Alright, so yeah, I've got look. Alright, and obviously the abbreviated word is ooh. Okay, it looks like I might have I don't think I stored, yeah, hang on, there's the neutral look, ooh, there you go, and that's now ooh as in look over there, look. Then I got the for at, and dog r, and as in int, and eat, more of a smile, eat, and ooh as in you, and man as but I think this is but or man, pet, chat. I've got that all from here, chat. And so I stored all of these in according to this chart that I've got over here. Fat. Alright, you can see I've got a bit of fixing up there to do with those teeth. I think while I was handling this file, that's when I might have messed something up. Alright, and how you do this is quite simple. Alright, and I'm maybe just going to do, and how you do this is quite simple. So literally e.g., and like I said, when I first started off, it was a bit of a struggle. Alright, so like I said, neutral look. Now how pose library works is it's only going to store the keyframes that you've selected. So make sure that while you're posing, so obviously like I'm going to move this over here, I'm going to grab this control over here, I'm going to do something over here to make it small. And I don't know if you can see, but if I've got the mirror x-axis, it really helps, because then I just grab the one control over here. Look how nicely our character's smiling here. See? Alright, and then I'm going to go and press plus, but the thing is I've only got this control selected, so it's like the keyframing. That's the only control that I selected. So what I found is that I select all the controls that I'm using. Alright, using shift I'm holding down shift and selecting all my controls, and I made sure that I kept to specific controls. So those were basically the controls that I used. Alright, there's also a tongue control, alright, but there was only once or twice where I used that, like on the, I think the f, or the the alright, and then literally all you're going to do is then press plus, and it's going to ask you if you want to add a new one, and with the control selected, the minute I say add new, it stores it. Okay, once it's stored it, I can use, there's two ways to do this. I can press, having my control selected, I can press Alt G, which resets everything. Alright, and then I will do my next pose. So let's say frowning now. Alright, again, it's important to select all your controls, and I think the other reason being is because if I go from one pose to the next pose, it's like keyframing. So if the next pose I didn't select specific keyframes, even though I only moved two, then the other keyframes which are not stored are going to stay in the same position as your X position. So press plus, add a new one. Alright, and by the way, you can click on it and I can name it frown. This one I can name smiling. Now how do you go to it? I press smiling and I hit this guy over here, and there's my keyframe, and then I can press I, which then, as you can see, let me just show you here. I know that, there you go, you can see it's stored keyframes. Then I can go ahead, I can do the next position and press I, and that stores the next keyframe. Alright, and there you go. And so you will continue with the rest. And so you will continue with the rest of your keyframes. Right, and then the next thing and the last step that you're going to do, now you can see here's my file, is I created an actual audio file. Alright, I recorded it on my phone. I made sure I was in a nice quiet place, especially if you've got an iPhone, they record really good quality. And I actually pulled my file into Final Cut, and I just put a like an effect on it so that I could change my voice, so that our rabbit here does not have a manly South African voice, but I gave it sort of an animated feel. And that's actually quite easy. You just need to go under your workspace, under video editing. You go into video editing, you pull your file in over here. You can drag and drop it in, or you can say add, and you can say sound or movie. You pull it here in your timeline. Now you'll see when the first time you pull it in, you won't see the sound waves, and the sound waves are really helpful. Press in over here and just say display waveform, and once it does that, you got your waveform. And what's nice is then you can literally work with your waveform, because you can see exactly where the words are.
Hey.
Okay. Hey. Hey.
Hey. Hey. Hey, hey.
Alright, obviously right now mine's not working too well because I'm screen recording, and I've got Blender and it's busy animating my poor guy over here. And so I then worked through and I got the main words. Alright, so if I look at hey, it's more like a A, isn't it? Hey, A, and it ended up with a ya. So I think I did like a hey.
Hey, hey.
Alright, hey. Hey. So from sort of like a closed, from my neutral look to, in fact, here we go. Let me zoom in here quickly so you can see here. So if you look at my keyframes on this side, from the, alright, let's not worry too much about, so just my rig, my speech. From here, I went from the neutral look to the smile. Alright, I added one in there, and then I went hey. Hey, hey. So hey, closed, back to the smile again. Hey, back to the smile position. Hey again. And anyway, that's basically what I did, and this is just something that you sort of learn by yourself. Guys, any questions, any help with anything, comment below. I will reply. Please subscribe to support what we're doing, and also like this video, because I know that you liked this video. I know that has helped many people out there, and I hope that has blessed you as much as what has blessed me. And so next week we're going to be looking at something a bit different, but even cooler than this. So yes, even cooler than this. And yes, so until the next video, or until next week, so see you guys next week. Cheers.